Today's video is sponsored by 6 Foot Tall Tumbleweed. Listen to the new album Wheel of Suffering on iTunes or on Spotify today.
Dark skin, bright eyes, big booty, and thick ass thighs.
Hello everybody, Brad the Guitologist here. In this video we're going to look at a black box. When I was about in the 6th grade, I had a teacher who, physics teacher, who the first thing he did was he came out with this black box. He poured a glass of water into it, and on the other end, more water came out than he poured in. Something like that. It's been a while. It's been a few acid trips ago. But anyway, yeah, something like that. So we're going to play that sort of game, except, you know, with less science. Try to guess what this is before I open it up. If I turn it around first, it may give you a clue. So what could this thing be? This is supposedly a 1941 Silvertone lap steel amp and case. Now I did a video about amp and case guitars, just kind of a general overview talking about a bunch of different amp and case guitars. Never even knew this one existed. This one has a little amplifier. There may be some clues here in the Silvertone. I'm sure on Silvertone World, the website, there's probably a lot of information, but there may be a clue in that Silvertone logo right there. Certainly looks early to me. Now, Silvertone was a name that Sears started using, I believe, around 1940, 40 or 41, probably around the time this thing was made. Before the 40s, before it became Silvertone, they called all of their electronics products Supertone, and also all of their guitars in general were named Supertone guitars. All their other instruments as well, whether it was mandolins, ukuleles, whatever, was all Supertone. So this is if this is 1941, this is a very early Silvertone product. We do know that it does indeed go with this case because we have a Sears Roebuck label, and this will be the chassis number. So this is a reference number for Sears. Like if you needed parts for this, you would reference this number right here, where you would be able to find the documentation, the parts list, and everything for this particular amplifier. The speaker does have a code over here, and you can see the speaker's had a repair, but this code I really don't recognize. 65V18B, and up here we have 62317. So I'm not sure on this. And then we have a 47B there. It's possible we also have a transformer code, but if we do, I'm just not seeing it. We have some chalk writing on the cabinet itself, and the number 48 is written in chalk right there. This cabinet is made of finger jointed plywood. But yeah, I just thought this was a really interesting piece. This was brought to me by a guy who wanted me to take a look at it and see if it needed anything. He said it was really quiet. We're going to take a listen to it and see how quiet it is. It definitely has a replaced power cord, and the power cord is a 2-pronger. And it looks like what we have here in terms of tubes is a 6SF5. That's a strange tube. 6SF5. We have a 6V6. We also have a power transformer, so we know this is a, this is like a single-ended 5-watt output kind of amp. This is probably a 5Y3, yeah, 5Y3. So we have a 5Y3, a 6V6, but we have this strange preamp tube, the 6SF5, and I'm guessing that our problem with low volume may have something to do with this 6SF5. This could be the wrong tube because this is just a weird one for me. I don't see a lot of amplifiers like this with a 6SF5 preamp tube. Let's look and see what a 6SF5 even is. So what we have here is a 6SF5. That is a high mood triode. It's a shield connection, a cathode, grid on 3, and a plate on 5. So this is a single triode. Really not making the best use of the potential here. So this thing, I fully expect that this sort of amplifier would be low in volume. I'm just curious. Let's plug this thing in and see what it's doing. Okay, I'm just going to try this first of all with a regular guitar. We've got filament glow. See, we have a 6-inch speaker, a single triode preamp. This thing is not really meant to be that loud. And I imagine it's probably even a little bit quieter still with the old lap steel, with the worn out Alnico pickup. So I would imagine that's this thing is probably very, very quiet even with that. But I tell you what, let's. It sounds to me also like there might be a little bit of filter hum on some notes. Now, what's remarkable about this example is that it's extremely clean. I mean, it's just. It's not ragged, other than the handle being missing. This thing is in exceptional shape. I would have to guess that this thing sat in somebody's attic probably for a long time, just under a protective layer of dust before it was found. Like I said, the speaker did have looks like it had a little bit of damage and somebody repaired it here, but other than that, pretty pristine. And this is a 6-inch speaker, and once again I would say that that's got to be a contributing factor to why this is so low volume. That single triode is the main culprit, though. If they had designed this with with a preamp tube with at least 2 triodes, would have been a lot louder and cascaded those stages. Oh boy. Okay, look at this. So this power cord has been changed and nothing else, and nothing at all else. The other thing that you'll notice about this is that the power cord goes right into the transformer. There's not even an on and off switch, is there? There's no on off switch. This is just, you plug it in and it's on. You unplug it and it's off. It just goes right into the transformer. I mean, you just don't see anything like this anymore. And this is the way it would have been built. That is a paper and wax death cap on an amp with no fuse at all. What is this? 20 microfarad. So that's a bypass cap, probably. Yeah, and look, even the socket, for this tube doesn't have all the pins. There's, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 pins. We're missing 2 pins. Huh. Here's a 10 microfarad at 450 volts. This one does have a date code, 235-643. So this is probably the 43rd week of 1936 or 46. So this thing might be a little later than I thought. Either that or this was replaced at some point by someone. So this might be a later power capacitor that somebody just tacked in here to make it work. It's kind of backed up by the sloppy job. You can see the wire right there is just kind of laid up against the terminal. I mean, you got a lot of shoddy work from the factories at this time, especially on brands like Silvertone, because they were just pushing this stuff out so fast, and it was meant to be cheap. But you really don't see it this bad. I mean, that's just tacked in there very sloppily. So I would say that is a replacement. So it's not accurate to say this is 100% you know, an original state, because that has been replaced. This one looks like it has also been replaced. It has been tacked in as well. Looks like some tech somewhere along the line had to replace these power capacitors, and they just shoved in here just what they had. Here's one. This capacitor has two capacitors in one. Yeah, see, this has been replaced for sure. So we've got two 10s here, we've got a 10 there. And I think these have been in here so long that they're also starting to go bad. So we're looking at a very old amp with some very old repairs. So what I think I'm going to do, at the very least on this, is I'm going to have to replace the power cord, because this 2-prong is not going to cut it. It's also going to need a fuse, you know, because if it starts drawing too much current and this power transformer shorts, you know, you're grabbing onto your guitar and you have no 3rd prong on the cord, this thing might kill you. You know, we could probably make it louder. I could probably drop a preamp tube like a possibly 6SJ7 or something like that and modify this circuit, and it would be a louder amplifier for sure, but it wouldn't be the same. So I think I'm going to replace these capacitors, but I also want to look and see if we can find a schematic.
Okay, finding a schematic for this thing is going to be way easier said than done, but here we can see a catalog from 1941. This is the Sears catalog, and we can see the Hawaiian Electric mono unit here for $29.95. Interestingly, another competitor of Valco in Chicago was Dickerson out in California. Dickerson was the precursor to Magna, and they made a lot of amp in case guitars as well. And here we can see a patent from 1940, which was filed in 1939, and this was attributed to Dickerson. So while it's possible our example was made by Valco in Chicago or some other firm in Chicago, we also cannot totally rule out Dickerson as a maker for this thing.
Okay, this little blurb on this site says the smallest and lowest price amplifier was the S6. Had a 3-tube circuit, 3 watts, drove a 6-inch speaker, so that's very similar to what we see here. 6 SF5 is what they use for a preamp tube, and plus a 6-inch speaker. Of course, this thing wouldn't have been loud enough to drive anything else, but just interesting. A possible connection here with Dickerson. Okay, so let's go ahead and replace the power capacitors at the very least. This death capacitor needs to go, and we need a fuse. I'm going to have to put a terminal strip in here so that we can get the fuse in. I want to try to leave enough of this cord. Now this will allow us to get, you know, to a terminal strip, because we're going to need a terminal strip. Okay, so here's this thing all done, I believe at least. Got all of our caps replaced here. Everything's a lot smaller. You can see how compact everything is now. We have a fuse here coming off of the hot lead going into the transformer. We also have a ground, and things are looking a lot better in here, a lot cleaner anyway. So let's see if we can give it a quick test. The guy is actually going to be here to pick it up fairly soon, so we're going to have to hustle here. Alright, we got this thing fired up for the first time after the service. What was that? Oh, I stepped on the cable. Got this thing fired up for the first time after the service. Try it with the lap steel now. Alright, so that'll do it for this ultra rare little 1941 Silvertone amp and case. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Once again, if you have, please hit subscribe down below. And for now, y'all take care.